And today, Missouri Congressman and Chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee Jason Smith wrote a letter to IRS Commissioner Daniel Werfel. Why? Chairman Smith is demanding that the IRS revoke the tax-exempt status of the People Media Group. The People Media Group is publicly known as the Palestine Chronicle, which is a nonprofit organization. It says its mission is to educate the general public with commentary, features, book reviews, photos, art, and more. Since 2011, the People Media Group has been registered as an American 501c3 organization. Now that means it's tax exempt and all donations to the group are tax deductible. Tax exempt organizations do have to follow certain guidelines to maintain that tax exempt status. And now the People Media Group is being sued by rescue hostage Almoj Miryan. The rescued hostage was held by a journalist who served as a correspondent for the Palestine Chronicle. The journalist's name is Abdullah Al-Jamal. And just a reminder, the People Media Group runs the Palestine Chronicle. Al-Jamal also serves as a spokesperson for the Hamas-run labor ministry in Gaza. Last month, Miryan, along with hostages Shalomi Zev and Audrey Kozlov, were rescued from Al-Jamal's home in central Gaza, Nusayrat. In Ways and Means Chairman Jason Smith's letter of June 10th, he writes in part, quote, "It was recently reported that a journalist for the Palestine Chronicle located in the Gaza Strip was not really a journalist. Rather, he was a terrorist, and he actively held Israeli civilians as hostages in his home. Despite being an active combatant and a likely member of Hamas, it appears that he may have been getting paid by the People Media Project using tax-free dollars. I strongly urge the IRS to utilize its authority to execute and apply internal revenue laws, including those against tax-exempt organizations that fail to comply with the requirements needed to maintain tax-exempt status. Based on what is currently known, it's hard to imagine results short of revocation of the People Media Group's tax-exempt status," end quote. And then to follow up Smith's letter of June 10th, yesterday, Congressman Smith, along with Chairman of the House Oversight Committee, Kentucky Congressman James Comer, and Chairwoman of the Education and Workforce Committee, North Carolina Congresswoman Virginia Foxx, sent a letter to United States Attorney General Merrick Garland. That letter reads in part, quote, "We write to urge you to investigate the Palestine Chronicle and People Media Project for violating the law, particularly for providing material support to a known terrorist organization in violation of 18 U.S.C. 2339B, for filing a false tax return in violation of 26 U.S.C. 7206, and for failing to file a valid tax return and pay estimated taxes in violation of 26 U.S.C. 7203. While the United States House Committee on Ways and Means already has referred People Media Project to the Internal Revenue Service for revocation of its tax-exempt status, it appears the group also may have violated several federal laws," end quote. Missouri Congressman and the Chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, Congressman Jason Smith, joins me. Good evening, sir. And you sent the first letter to the IRS 1 month ago. Have you heard back from the IRS?
We haven't. And I'll tell you, the commissioner of the IRS, Greta, immediately should have revoked their tax-exempt status, because it's quite crystal clear that they have been funneling terrorists. In fact, their reporter, as you noted, held 2 of the Israeli hostages, and his ties to Hamas is quite obvious. So the IRS commissioner, I don't know what he's waiting on. I don't know why he's not responded to our letter yet, but he should revoke that tax status of that 501c3 immediately. But also the Justice Department needs to investigate them for the crimes. And that was the letter Comer and Ms. Fox and I sent today. We have documented, once we started looking into the Palestine Chronicle, Greta, we noticed that they had tax filings at the federal level saying that they brought in less than $50,000 a year in the tax years of like 21, 22, 23. However, in the state of Washington, their tax filings showed that it was over that amount. So clearly they're lying on someone's tax returns.
You know, it's so disheartening. I mean, the government is so broken. I mean, take a look at the Justice Department, which you just notified yesterday. But over a year ago, they started a civil rights investigation into the conditions at Fulton County Jail. And anyone looking at the pictures could make that decision in 10 seconds. Still no decision at all. I reported tonight about wasting $320 million on a floating pier that anyone who had any sort of sense would have known that was not going to work. That cost the taxpayers. I recently got a report from the FBI that they are going to respond to a Freedom of Information Act request that I make, they're going to respond to me, they told me, in 5.5 years. I mean, it's hard to think. Now you don't get a response. You don't get a response from the Internal Revenue Service for an organization that may be harboring or hiring terrorists. And it's been over a month, and you're chairman of the House Ways and Means. It's just stunning.
It's exactly how the Biden administration has been operating for the last 3.5 years. They feel like they don't have to answer to the American people, and they don't have to answer to members of Congress or members of the United States Senate. We've seen this in the impeachment inquiry investigation that we've been having. They have stonewalled every attempt of the investigation. We've had to go in other directions to get the information that we have received in just that area.
Congressman Jason Smith, thank you, sir.